Welcome back. This is Claire, who you may recall was here a few episodes ago. She is the yoga instructor who was looking for help with getting a deeper breath. And how's the breathing going?
It's been pretty good. I feel like I can definitely take a deeper breath than I was able to before. There was 1 week between the first session and this session where I felt like my breath was getting stuck right around the area where I had the cyst removed, but it felt like the muscles around that area were finally waking up for the first time. And then after about a week, it felt like the breath was able to take its full capacity moving throughout my body.
So I'm Kara Lindell. I'm the founder of the Bridging Institute and the Bridging Technique. And we're going to take things another step further with Claire because the whole thing with her neck surgery and the cyst goes back to when she was a newborn, and the surgeries were when she was quite young. And I took a photo when we were finished last time and took one again today. And we'll show them to you right now. What's really interesting is that the muscles and just the way her skin lies and everything on the one side where the cyst and the surgery were looks really less developed than the other side. And there's something that she's been noticing since the last session. How's your head feel?
My head feels cocked to the right a little bit, and I just feel like I'm constantly like this.
So one of the things that we find when there's been surgeries or other incidents at a very young age is sometimes the muscles never have learned how to work together. So that's what we're going to check for today. We're going to see how her head is moving and her core. So game plan, let's go. So stay sitting. We're going to see just how does her head and neck and shoulders work together. Doesn't move so much to the left, but very easily to the right. And so there's a lot of muscles in this whole area, and as they shift position, one has to stretch and one has to shorten. So it's lengthen and shorten, and then they need to switch back and forth. And that's something that develops at a very early point in time, and I didn't get a chance to do that. Or if you did, the cyst and the surgery got in the middle of it. Yep. So we're going to be going through just restoring the pairing of those different movements. So that's our starting point. Let's check how it rotates as well. So a little to the left. Nope, let me do it. Quite a bit to the right and just a little to so her sensation of feeling like her head is off to the right is about right, because that's where the tension in these muscles feels more similar. And what we want to do is get this whole area fine-tuned so that the tension feels more equal when her head is upright and centered. So lay down. Let's see what we have. Okay, so when she's laying down, I'm going to also check and see how her head turns a lot to the left and a lot to the right. Can you tell that? Yeah. And then how does it tip backwards? A little bit, which is nice. And then forward. Good. And just going to slide to the side. So it actually moves more when she's laying down. Oh, don't let me do it. Okay. But when you're laying down, it doesn't move as much to the right. So very interesting difference from when you're sitting to being on your back. So I'm going to support, actually I'm going to use one of our little peanut balls. I'm going to put that underneath your neck. And the other thing related to that surgery was the arms were out to the side. So we're just going to let those guys go out. And what I'm going to do is just find the line about from where the scar is, and I'm going to support that just very lightly, and I'm going to come to the other side. So that's giving some support to where the muscles were cut, and I'm going to come to the other side and just kind of oscillate very gently between both sides, because the right side is working well, and that can give some patterning and guidance to the left side. So do you feel your head starting to shift?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like the right side is like, oh, thank God, I've been doing all this work all these years. I can finally let go a little bit. So really with bridging, what we're trying to do is match up muscle tension and then add just a little oscillation, and that resets how pairs of muscles or pairs of muscle groups are working together. So I'm changing how I'm holding. Instead of using the flat edge of my hand, I'm using the fingertips. So it's just a little different pressure and a little different line of support. Still moving just ever so slightly on the right side to the left. And getting, because what we're trying to do is match up the muscle groups between the right side of her head and the left side of her head. And I can feel the left ones actually start to have a little bit of play. So there we go. So the reason I supported her head with the peanut is to allow a little more freedom of movement, but also with control. It's a little bit deflated so that it just provides a gentle support but doesn't fix the position in place. And again, holding some tension on the left and oscillating on the right. And the right again relaxes and lets the left start doing its job. And they're really nicely starting to pair up and work together. And so here's a different movement. Even though it looks similar, I'm actually holding more through the muscles on the front of her neck, and I can feel that as the right starts to relax and lengthen, that the left actually starts to compress, doing exactly what it's supposed to. And then the left lengthens and the right compresses. So just this constant reciprocal interaction. And boy, it just got very playful. So the other part of this is how all of these muscles then attach to the muscles that hold the jaw in place. And I'm just holding between the back of her jaw, the mandible, and around her ear. There's a tiny little bit of space. And the right side feels like it has some play, and the left side feels like cardboard. So again, I'm just going to hold both sides so that the body has a comparison, because the jaw will transmit any movement from one side to the other, and all of a sudden it starts to move.
Wow.
And you had mentioned that your tongue movement felt that you could tell a difference between left and right. So I'll be curious if some of the muscles that relate to the tongue end up changing just because of everything around them. Mm-hmm. We are not going to do anything to your tongue muscles. I'm sure there are people who will, but that's not what we get into. So just still holding at each jaw near the ear, and it starts moving much more easily, and I'm going to just move your jaw up and down. And it's interesting, the thickness of the jawbone itself is different on right and left. So I'm just going to hold at the edge and just push down and up and go along the edge. There. And let's see, where else did you have scars? A little bit further back. So I'm going to take this out, and I'm just going to suspend. So instead of that holding the space, I am going to hold the space. And so the same muscles that you felt like were maybe waking up after we got the breathing working more deeply, can you feel that the right side is just nice and bouncy, and the left is just kind of there? So same thing we've been doing, matching and moving the right and giving some tension and support on the left, and hopefully it's going to wake up. So what you should be able to see on your screen is that my hand that's holding will just start moving as a result of the movement on the other side. There. And heads are very, very gentle, very precious, so we're not doing anything hard. I'm using a very light pressure and just a very light, playful motion, but very controlled. And just going through different aspects of holding in muscles in different locations, because no matter which end of the muscle, so now I'm closer to where the clavicle is, the collarbone, and I'm going to support the whole side of her head. Behind her ear, it's a little bit hard to grasp. Again, I just feel this nice elastic set of relationships on the right, and the left do not have that same feel, but that just changed. And interestingly enough, the muscles at the very back of her head are the ones that changed, so that your head more easily goes up and down at the top, at the base of the skull, rather than at the bottom of the neck. It's a more efficient way to get that movement. So now I'm at the other end of the neck, just trying to go up and down, and like everything just stretched out. So all of those muscles are relaxing up and down. And so as a whole, there's a lot more movement back and forth. And so again, I'm going to hold just on each side. So there's now a tension rather than a playfulness on the right side. Do you notice that? And you know, these neck muscles, they should be strong because the head is a heavy little bowling ball to hold up all day long. They have a really important job to stabilize the head, but also move it. And so again, just going back and forth, trying to match the tension and the pliability and the movement. So I'm going to be more specific on the right side. It seems like there's just one particular muscle that's really tight. And try to help it connects down to the collarbone area. And there. Oh, that one apparently is involved in turning your head, because that just really opened up your right rotation of your head. And so even though the muscles on the right side developed normally, they also didn't learn how to hand off, like how to share. It's kind of like they were only children.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So. Oh, and there's some more. Okay, so we're starting to approach what we found last time was likely the position of the surgery, right? So, yeah, here it even turns a little bit more. So I'm just lightly supporting on the right side. And yeah, let's bring this arm up and into play. So this is a bigger relationship of her head to her shoulder. And I'm just following where her head wants to move and where the tension goes. And then I'm supporting more in the back now instead of the side. And arm is changing. There. And if your other arm wants to move, just go ahead and let it. Because your arms probably didn't get a chance to learn how to reciprocally move so well either.
Yeah.
There. Oh my gosh. Okay, yes, I have some strength in this arm, but I'm not having to use it. Your head is just flowing.
Oh my God.
Oh, there's the up and down. Fantastic. Okay, so just rechecking. Remember how I said it felt like it was almost too loose going to the side? It feels like it's got some tension, and then when I let go, it pops back to the middle. There's a bounce to it, which is really nice. That tells me that it's like the spring on the door. You open it and the spring pulls it back closed. Yeah. Good. So just equally go side to side. Does that feel pretty similar? There's right, there's left. And so you move it around.
Feel like there's a little bit of tension still up in here, but
okay, so let's see if we can figure that out. Actually, it's a deep layer. It's like on the surface, it feels nice and playful. And in the middle, feels like the Play-Doh that's been in the refrigerator a little bit.
oh my gosh.
There. Okay, that matched up. Okay, try moving that again.
yeah, way different.
All right, so I just want to make sure that everything works together. So I'm going to give a quick roll toward me. Oh, beautiful. Your head moved just perfectly. Yeah, let's do the other side. Oops, I'm going to get out of the way. Oh, head was perfectly in sync there too.
Perfect.
Sit up. Let's double check sitting up. All right, so some movement to the left, some movement to the right. Feels pretty similar. And turning to the left, turning to the right.
Wow.
Yeah, and then back and forth. Very nice. Let's make sure the rest of you balance-wise is good, because shifting your head, and then you know what, I want you to stand up, because if your orientation with the head shifts, I want to make sure it knows how to work with your feet. And so we're just practicing everybody being able to talk and work together. There. Oh, awesome. Okay, sit down again.
That was wild.
So, this was so cool. Thank you for letting us see what we could do with that. So just to recap with Claire, she had the cyst when she was born with, big, grapefruit size, on the left side of her neck. They did surgery. We worked through some breathing issues that would have been impacted by the surgeries when she was very young. But today we worked on getting the muscle relationships through her neck and shoulder matched up and working together again. Never too late.
Agreed.
And so head, does it feel centered now?
Yeah, way more.
You're going to feel some changes still over the next few days.
Yeah.
This is a new normal for you that you've never experienced before.
Yeah.
So that'll be really interesting to check in with. So anyway, things from birth where they just don't get a chance to work together, they can be put back together, and that lets the one side relax as the other side starts to function, and then they match up and go forward. No specific exercises, just you using your head, looking around. We'll keep it all in check with each other and probably add some new relationships as you go. If you loved this episode, it was so interesting, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And if you're interested in seeing how we might be able to help something where you've had an incident from earlier in your life or more recently, whether it's as a video guest or just in the office, the information to reach us is in the show notes. We are just north of Chicago, so easy to get to. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being here.
Thank you.